What if I told you that the reason that you're burned out isn't because you're weak? It's because you've been too strong for too long without rest. This year, every single woman who responded to my poll said she was burned out. 100%. And on this podcast today, we are going to talk about how our jobs steal our energy, how we feel guilty for taking a break and resting, and how I finally learned to take my life without burning everything down. Plus, I'll tell you how Taylor Swift helped me prepare for one of the toughest conversations, one of the most uncomfortable conversations with my boss. Yep, that happened. Lucky me. So, episode 411 drops now. When your job steals Christmas and how to take it back.
Be confident, be bold, be authentic, but don't forget to take action. This is Ordinary to Badass, where our stories empower women to step into the spotlight of their own lives and pursue what they're truly passionate about. It's time to step into the arena and become more than just extraordinary. It's time to become a badass with your host, Marie Sonneman.
Welcome back to Ordinary to Badass, the podcast where women in predominantly male industries learn how to rise, lead, and own their power without apology. So let's talk about something that nobody prepared you for. When you finally get the job, the promotion, the influence, and suddenly you start feeling like you don't have enough time. You have so many things on your to-do list, and it's hard to accomplish them all. Sometimes we even feel like we're failing in all areas of our life because we're over freaking achievers. Because you know what? Your job, it doesn't just take your weekdays. It starts taking your weekends, your sleep, your peace. Yeah. And sometimes it even takes your Christmas. So that's what we're going to unpack a bit today. So I ran a simple poll on Instagram, and 100% of people that responded said they felt burnt out this year. That's how they described their year. Unacceptable. I know it's real and it's life, but we can do better. Not 82%, not most. Every single person said they felt burnt out. So this tells me something. We are doing too much. And rest, sometimes it feels like a luxury instead of a basic human need. And we have to take care of ourselves. We have to double down on our self-care. And I'm not saying this from a place of preaching because I have been the worst at it. I don't have a happy medium. So when I go all in, and that can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. But I'm saying it not just to remind myself, but kind of what I've learned along the way. Okay, let's get into what felt ordinary and what felt badass this past week. So what felt ordinary? Just being in the scramble. After my course launch, I had a massive project at work and my brain felt like actual mush. Like I just couldn't think anymore. I had decision fatigue, creative fatigue, just emotional fatigue, just tired AF, and just exhausted. And you know what? I realized I need to just take a few days and chill the heck out. It can be hard for me to turn off my productivity goals and not feel like I have to get things done. But I just realized how exhausted I felt. I needed a break. Going hard, pushing, like being hardcore, it works until it doesn't. So learn to listen to your body, listen to when you need rest. So yeah, I dropped the productivity, I dropped the trying to earn something better or do something more, and I just rested and relaxed. Okay, what felt badass? And I can't remember if I've mentioned this. I don't think so, but it's possible. Another female lieutenant got promoted, so that makes me so stinking happy. I'm not the only one anymore. Woo woo. And so, yeah, I think that's a win for the entire room. And I love seeing it. It makes me so happy. And you know, I think I've shared on here before, there is something so important about visibility. I have seen it over and over again. When there's one female in a position, it remains the one. Once you get a second, Then it's like the dominoes knock over and more women start applying for that position because they see it's possible for them. They see themselves in those other women. So it's hard to be the first one. It can even be hard to be the second one, but oh my gosh, is it a game changer? And it really does change the future trajectory for women, for your department, for your agency, whatever it is. So keep going, keep pushing for that promotion, pushing for the things that you want, the positions that you want. And if you are the only one, I know it can be exhausting. I know it is. Heck, I've been the only one for the last 3 years, right? But you can make a change. Okay, I'll get off my high horse on that one. But yeah, that felt badass. I was super excited to have another woman in the room. So that feels good. And then the second thing that felt badass is I kept pitching an idea to one of my bosses and it kept getting shut down over and over again. So I brought it up verbally, ignored. Again, shut down. Again, ignored. But the fifth time I brought it up, I put it in writing. And I even took the onus off of them and I said, hey, I feel like I explain things better in writing and can really lay out the facts better. So I put it in writing. Guess what? Some people absorb information better when they can actually read it and have it on their own time as opposed to in conversation. I do. And I do better articulating it when I write it down. So you know what? The fifth time, it was a charm. My idea went through after I had it written down. So you know what? If it takes 5 times for an idea to go through, to me, that's still a win. Not just because it's my idea, but because it's for the betterment of the agency. And so in my mind, that's not nagging, that's leadership. You're just bringing good ideas, good information forward, and sometimes it takes a while to hit. Okay, let's dig in because we want to take our Christmas and our holidays back. Here's the bigger truth that I want to talk about today. Women, we do so damn much for everyone else. We're like everyone's caretakers. We want to make sure everybody is happy, everybody is good. But then there's not enough left for ourselves. We say yes out of habit. We carry guilt with us like everywhere we go as if it's a second purse. We take care of everything and everyone. And then we wonder, why the heck are we so exhausted? And I am saying this to you with love because I have been there too. Well, I still have the habit, and it's something I'm trying to break or cut down on, right? But I'm aware of it. And this way of living has got to stop. So recently, my Spotify Wrapped as a creator just dropped in this past week. And the most downloaded episode of the year, Climbing Mount Whitney. It's old, like super old. And I love that people are still craving that kind of journey. But then it hit me. I constantly talk about leadership, promotion, confidence. But I really haven't talked enough about work-life balance. And that is so important to me because you know what? My vision isn't just women becoming badass leaders. I want you to be badass at work and in your body and in your peace and in your adventure. Work hard, play harder. It's like have a well-rounded life. I think that's the goal. And there is a lot of old programming that I have had to unlearn and I'm still working on unlearning here. My natural instinct from working in a predominantly male industry for so stinking long is to just power through. Go harder. Don't give up. Don't stop. Just go. And if I'm being honest, sometimes that's the advice that I still give, or I can still give off that energy, like, let's go. But honestly, that's more of habit talking, not what I truly believe anymore. Okay, so I gotta tell you about a turning point, and I don't think I've ever shared this publicly. I went through a sexism lawsuit, and I spoke with another woman who had went through one before me, and it absolutely wrecked her health. It was devastating, so hard on her body. And when I heard that, I promised myself, I will not sacrifice my body and my well-being for a system. And when the stress got too much, it felt like I couldn't handle it. That's when I really got serious about meditation. Not cute meditation, but hardcore meditation. I even signed up for a silent retreat. And up until that point, a silent retreat sounded like death to me, which I know is hilarious. I'm an introvert. I live by myself. Like, I'm fine with silence, right? But like when you're told you can't talk, that's a whole nother thing. It makes you want to. Just me. Um, but yeah, I signed up for the retreat, and this was during COVID and it got canceled because of COVID. While I've still never been on a silent retreat, I've been on several meditation retreats, and they're no longer torture. They're sacred. They're me time. And I've doubled down on self-care in ways that I used to judge. So I get if it's not your thing, that's fine. I also think like self-care has many different forms. What works for me isn't going to work for you or the next person, but it's like you have to try different things out to figure out what does work for you. And I'll tell you, this year was freaking hard for me. It was very hard. I went through a breakup. My dog that was like 14 years old passed away, and that broke my heart. And work just was really heavy. There was a lot going on. So, in a way to like take care of myself and to like stop my brain from going on overtime thinking, I started walking 2 to 3 times a day. And it was just to get out of the house and to break my mood and just get my blood flowing. And you know what? That's why I went to Spain and walked the Camino de Santiago. I did 140 miles in 10 days. So that's like an average of 14 miles a day. And if you want to hear more about that experience, listen to episode 404 and you can hear about the full journey. It was super cool. I really enjoyed it and it was a good reset. And you know what? Going on that trip, that wasn't me running from life or trying to get away. That was a bucket list trip. And I had heard a podcast, I think it was Brendan Burchard, and he had said, you know what? If you have a bucket list thing to do it now. Like maybe you don't do the full thing, but do a chunk of it, do a small part of it. And here's the beauty in that. If you do a small part, then you know that you want to do the full thing later. But what so often happens is we keep putting out our bucket list and we put it on the back burner and then it never happens because it's just like always that thing out there and we never get to it. Do you have something on your bucket list? Is there something that maybe takes a longer amount of time and you can shorten it and do a part of it? The Camino, I think it's like, now I'm forgetting, but I think it's like a 6-week journey. So I only did 2 weeks, but that's okay. I got a lot of walking in. I got the experience. I really loved it. So I'll probably go back and do the full thing. But at least now I know, and I can say I took my bucket list trip. That's pretty awesome. So I would love to hear from you on Instagram. What's your bucket list thing? Tag me at Ordinary to Badass, put it in your stories, DM me, whatever. I want to know what your bucket list trip is, your bucket list adventure, something you just really want to do before your life ends, right? That sounds kind of grim, but we'll go with it. But what do you really want to do with what excites you? What have you always dreamt about? How can you do part of it now? Okay, confession time here. In some ways, I feel like I failed you a little because really I have not talked enough about self-care on this podcast or on social media in general. And I haven't shared how heavy this year has been or how I had went through that lawsuit. And here's the thing. You can't be a powerhouse at work if you're at home. You have to put your oxygen mask on first. Always. Period. The end. And I think that's kind of how it's been for me. Like, sometimes I heard advice like it's better to talk about a scar as opposed to talking about an open wound, right? So when you've healed and you've done the work and you feel better about it, then it's better to talk about as opposed to like a not brain dump, but just like me offloading on you. That doesn't feel good for me or for you. And so that's another part of it. Sometimes you have to heal first. You have to take care of yourself before you can help somebody else. So I'm reminding myself that's my life in action. Okay, so now I want to go through, give you some tips, what I do when anxiety hits, when I feel stressed out, things that help me get through the holidays and honestly, just every day. It's like my real life playbook. So first, I notice it. I try not to fight it. And I'll tell you, noticing it, that is a lot. For me, that has been a lot. I have just always like done things and not really paid attention to how my body felt. And really, your body does tell you things. And I think it's important to pay attention to it. So now when I notice that I'm feeling anxious, I'll just tell myself it's okay to feel anxious in my body, or it's okay to feel anxiety in my body. And then I try to trace the thought because a lot of times the anxiety doesn't just come from nowhere. It's either you're unconscious picking up on something or it's a thought that you had. More often than not, for me, it seems like it's a thought that I had. So let me give you an example. One time I left the house and then I was like, oh my gosh, what if I left my straightener on, my hair straightener? And then my next thought was, oh, what if the house catches on fire? And then following that thought, what if my dog gets hurt? I'm such a bad dog mom. And I just started panicking, thinking about if my dog got hurt. Then once I caught it, because I was like, ooh, why am I feeling so anxious? And I'm like, what was my last thought? Or what was I thinking last? Duh. I started thinking about my dog Sadie getting hurt or burning in a fire. And that wouldn't make me happy. And so sometimes your brain does that. It goes from one thought to the next. And then when you catch it, you're like, oh, okay, I can see why I felt anxious. Then I realized it wasn't really a thing. It was just my mind looping, right? And then that gives my permission, or that gives me permission for my body to calm down because I can see where the anxiety came from and kind of the thoughts that got me there. And that helps me. And like, oh yeah, that's understandable. I love my dog. I would not want anything to happen to my dog. The third thing I do, which no shock, is I walk. If I'm tired, I go for a walk. Anxious, walk. Overwhelmed, walk. Movement gets your blood flowing. It just has a way of resetting everything. And it's like, it doesn't have to be a long walk. Sometimes I'll just be like, okay, just get out there for 10 minutes. Just get out there and move. And just the getting out there and moving a little bit and getting some fresh air can completely reset or can completely help you reset. Or something else that I do is I meditate or visualize. Even 5 minutes a day, get in a quiet room, close your eyes. If you don't want to, you don't even have to. You can just sit there and observe the room. No pressure to do it right. It's just about silent time, time for yourself, time to hear your thoughts. I think a lot of people think if I meditate, I have to shut my thoughts down. Nope. If your thoughts are going, good. That's fine. You can hammer them out in those 5 minutes, so it's less that you have to think about during the day. And something else is like, I had someone tell me, well, I fall asleep every time I meditate. So what's the point? Well, then I think your body's telling you something. You need some rest. Don't beat yourself up. Whatever happens, don't beat yourself up over it. You are good. The fact that you are doing it and taking time for yourself, that's enough. That's the win right there. You took 5 minutes for yourself. Celebrate that. Okay, number 5 is I change my media diet. It will come as no shock to you that I love true crime podcasts, even shows like Dateline or 48 Hours. So if I'm in an anxious mood and I'm feeling anxious, true crime plus anxiety equals no, absolutely not. Not going to do it. I cut it out. And this might just be for the day, or it might just be for that hour because anxiety doesn't always stay the whole day. So if I'm feeling anxious and then I start listening to something and I notice it makes me more anxious, stop. How can you reset? What can you listen to or watch that will improve your energy as opposed to making it worse? It's like energy in, energy out. So just be aware of what you're consuming. And I think I'm not going to stop watching or listening to true crime stuff, but when I'm in one of those moods and I'm feeling anxious and I notice that that's like making it worse, then no, I'm not going to watch it or listen to it. I can watch it tomorrow. So just be aware. That's it. What you're taking in. Be aware of it. The end. Okay. Here is a boundary that absolutely changed my life and really helped me. I don't check my work phone on weekends at all. Zero, none. I turn my phone off when I'm off work. Like on my Friday, I turn my phone off and I don't turn it back on until I'm at work on Monday. No emails, no calls, no guilt. When I'm home, then I'm at home and I'm fully focused on that. When I'm at work, I try to be fully at work and focus on that. And moms, listen to me. If guilt shows up when you're at work, that's okay. Just remind yourself you're modeling work ethic and passion. You're passing that along to your kids because you want them to have that one day too, right? And then when you go home, if work thoughts pop up, remember family is your value. So remind yourself that you're honoring that. Just try to be fully present wherever you are. Or even I've heard people, I feel like somebody on the podcast was saying they put their phone up and away and then go like fully pay attention to their kids without phone, without media, and they just have one-on-one time. And I don't know, it's so crazy. I'm bringing this up because it's around Christmas time, but like presents seem so cool and so good. But I don't know about you, but what I actually remember from childhood is experiences. Like I had an aunt who was the coolest, and she would take us out for events or to like the park, or we'd always be doing something fun and something cool. And that felt really good. I can't remember very many gifts that I got as a child, but I do remember the experiences with my aunt. To like focus on experiences with your family. So you can't be everywhere, but you can be present where you're at. Okay, here's the truth. Nobody is coming to care for you the way you can care for yourself. Your job needs you rested, your family needs you happy and healthy, and your body needs you whole. And Tracy Litt, she is an author and a coach, and I love, love, love what she said. She said, I'm unavailable for being against myself. You should be too. We all should be. Like, gone are the days where I'm going to do stuff to be against myself. I have to live this whole freaking life with one person, me. No matter what happens, I'm always going to be there with me. So I better treat her right. And it's like going into 2026, have that be your goal. I'm unavailable for being against myself. Be team you. That's like the best thing to be. And really, I think it's undervalued, undertaught, not spoken about how much we should be our own stinking cheerleader. And I'm going to go back and look really quick here. I believe it's episode 407 with Carolina Ajala. Go back, listen to that episode. It was so stinking good. Carolina, she had such great tips on how to be your own biggest cheerleader. And so I've listened to that episode so many times. Actually, I think that one is like a replay episode because it is just that good. Okay, let's talk about the pop culture punchline here. This whole episode, absolutely Katniss Everdeen vibes. You know that moment where she realizes, I don't exist to survive their game. I exist to change it. You don't have to sacrifice yourself for success. You don't have to prove you're worthy. You're worthy just for being here. You're already enough. You don't have to prove it. So you get to win and live. You get to be a boss, a leader, and have a life outside of work and set boundaries. You're a badass. You can do it. If anybody can, it's you and me. We're listening to this podcast. We're going through this together. We can do it. And here's the thing. It starts with us. The next generation is watching us. They're watching what we do. If we don't do it, how do we expect them to learn it? A lot of kids, a lot of people learn by modeling. So we have to set the tone. Like, yes, I am going to work hard. I am going to do all the things, get that promotion. But you know what? I'm also going to go on that trip to Spain. I'm going to do both of those things and have fun while doing it. You deserve it. And instead of waiting until 2026, start in 2025. Start prioritizing you right now. Be a pioneer. That's what I say. Okay. Before we wrap up the episode, I want to switch gears and talk for a second about something unexpected, Taylor Swift. Because you know what? She helped me survive one of the most high conversations with a boss that I've had in a long time. Okay, so let me tell you about a moment that could have gone sideways. Where my boss had only been my boss for a short amount of time, and he suddenly, out of the blue, told me, hey, Marie, I'm going to give you an evaluation. He told me there were some things that we needed to talk about. And for me, in my mind, it was like a record scratch. I just couldn't understand when he'd only been my boss for 2 months why he'd be writing me an evaluation. And I had been in my role for several years before he had been my boss. He didn't really know me. And actually, in that position, I hadn't had an eval yet. And every single conversation I had had with him up until that point had been condescending, dismissive, always undermining me. And so it didn't feel good to me. And I immediately thought, worst case scenario, DEFCON 5. But this time, him and I were meeting the next day to go over my evaluation, and something else took hold of me. And instead of going down a rabbit hole, okay, maybe there was some of that, but I also did something different. I gotta tell you, I'm obsessed with AI, so I love it, and it's helped me play out several scenarios or help me come up with things in my mind that work for me. Or even if I read a book and I like it, I'll take a picture of the page and highlight it because I'm a nerd, and then be like, oh, tell me how I can apply this principle in the book to the situation in my real life. Anyway, I digress. So I always respect about Taylor Swift how she has this energy. She can handle difficult conversations and come back at somebody without like yelling and screaming or losing her cool. She always just has this vibe about her, and I respect that. So I went to AI and I'm like, I told him about the situation with my boss and what was going on. And I'm like, how would Taylor Swift handle this conversation? And if you're going to do this, you definitely have to give AI context about what's going on, like the scenario with my boss. I have to give it some context so it knows how to respond, but it's a total game changer. So here's the thing about Taylor Swift, and she's actually in the guide I created about how to deal with high stakes conversations at work. And she handles pressure with clarity. And she's able to speak the truth really bold. And like I said, she's not aggressive. And that's what I appreciate about her. But looking this up, it absolutely helped me. So, you know what? I walked into that meeting feeling unshakable, feeling confident, knowing the tone I was going to go with. And I even had a few different ideas of what I could say. And taking on somebody else's persona sometimes, it has a way of giving you a new confidence, but it's easier. I don't know what it is that sometimes it feels like, oh, I can't do it, but Taylor could, right? I don't know why our brain does that, but you know what? If it works, then I'm going to do it. In that conversation, my boss didn't change. I did. I went in a way that worked for me, regardless of what he said. And I just felt much more comfortable and way more prepared going into it. And you know what? This visualization, this planning ahead, it worked. And it helped me to feel comfortable in the conversation without coming across like a complete a-hole. Because you know what? If I go in there and I'm a jerk to my boss, how do you think that's going to work for me in the long run? That's not going to do me any favors. It's not going to benefit me. Typically, it's easier if you can get along with your boss, right? So if you dread hard conversations at work, or you just want to know an easier way to handle them, then you can steal my power up routine. And you can head on over to Instagram, DM me at Ordinary to Badass, and just say power up. 1 word, 2 words, I don't care. Either way, I'll send you the high stakes conversation, or I'll send you the guide, how to deal with high stakes conversations at work. It is a game changer. So think Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Shonda Rhimes. All of these people are so powerful, and you can tap into their energy and use it for high stakes conversations. The whole guide isn't about Taylor Swift or famous people, but that is one part of it. So if you want to have this kind of energy and be able to deal with high stakes conversations at work with ease, head on over to Instagram, DM me at Ordinary to Badass, and type in the word power up. Again, 1 word or 2 words, it's up to you. The choice is yours. I'll get you that guide. And remember, keep showing up, keep speaking up, and never, ever shrink for a seat at the table. Because you were born to build it. And with that, we'll end our show. Tell the badass women out there staying in the arena, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, own it and get after it.
Now that you've listened to this episode of Ordinary to Badass, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, ordinarytobadass.com/podcast, and submit your own experience on how you took your life from ordinary to badass, and get the chance to be on a future spotlight episode of the show. That's ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. While you're waiting for the next episode of the show, wipe off the sweat, dust off the dirt, and get back in the arena.